How are you?
Welcome, Martin.
Ladies, how are you? I'm doing fine, thank you.
I'm so glad you're on the show because I don't want CBC Radio Canada to have all the access to you because they love to talk to you about Western separation.
Yeah, and pipelines.
Yeah.
I'm on their special list of guests, but yeah, it's going to be an interesting night. I just wanted to I was listening to you
Please
before I
add.
jumped.
Yes.
The Republicans are running in all three ridings, right?
Right.
So not just in Olds, they're running a full slate, so a full slate of three candidates. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for correcting me on that. I think the place where they stand the greatest chance of making any real impact, however, remains Olds Didsbury. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm not in that riding. I'm about 2 miles away from Olds from the riding. My riding is actually Peter Guthrie's riding, and he got kicked out of the UCP, right? He's an independent now. But I drive through the riding all the time. I was there this afternoon shooting gophers. And to your point, it doesn't even look like the Conservatives ran in that riding whatsoever. I mean, I see the odd sign, but Cam Davies and his campaign team did a great job of campaigning and door knocking. And I also want to add another thing. It's an interesting riding for one really important reason too, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was Gord Kessler's old riding.
Right.
And I don't know if a lot of people know the story of Gord Kessler, but Gord Kessler was one of the first politicians to be elected as a separatist in this country outside of Quebec. Don't quote me on the years, but I think Gord was elected in the 1980s for a party. I think it was called like the Western Canada Concept or something like that.
Yeah.
And he came in out of the blue and got elected. So, and I know he's been endorsing Cam and campaigning with him somewhat. So yeah, it's going to be and I wanted to add again to your point. I agree, sorry, I'm coughing here. When it's time to vote, people will often hesitate. Mm-hmm. They'll say one thing in person, but they could hesitate in the ballot box, or they could surprise in the ballot box and go with their gut. So I'm not sold on the outcome of tonight in any riding.
Yeah. I think the NDP are in danger of losing Edmonton Ellerslie. I think the UCP are competitive there.
Yep.
And Nenshi's doing what Poilievre did, pick the safest riding and run there. All the White Avenue crazy people are going to vote for him, and we all is lost there. Like all is lost. Build a wall. Yeah. Let's hope they don't get into Sherwood Park. Just build a wall. But if the UCP are even remotely close in Ellerslie, I think it speaks to the loss of momentum for Nenshi. I mean, the party saw a bit of a bump when he was chosen leader, and then the more people get to know Danielle Smith, the more they like her.
And the more they get to know Nenshi, the less they like him, yes. Right? So it's absolutely. I know the UCP has a strong strategy. They call it the ring. I mean, they're trying to make inways in Edmonton. I hope they do. I mean, I'm a conservative. I'm just happy that when Conservatives get elected, I mean, I do not want the NDP. As far as I'm concerned, I'd like the NDP to be wiped off the face of this province.
Yes, yeah.
But that said, I am a conservative. I am part of the separatist movement, and I really truly hope that Cam makes some pretty strong inways in at least Olds, because I think there's an important role to be played by another by a separatist party in the province. I mean, I'm not completely decided on the best path forward as far as, there's three paths forward. I mean, the premier could choose separation. The Alberta Prosperity Project and other independent groups are moving with their grassroots approach. But I think having a party that's geared that way also puts a nice pressure on it. And by-elections by design are excellent times for constituents to send a message, right? There's nothing to be lost for any group right now, or for Olds to vote, for instance, for the Republican or for Edmonton. Nothing to be lost.
Right. And would a separatist who was elected in Olds Didsbury Three Hills vote with the NDP.
No.
Like,
You know what
never
I
in a
mean?
million
You're
years.
just
Yeah.
getting another conservative at the end of the day.
Yes. In a current government. I mean, if we were, excuse me, I got something in my throat. If we were starting a fresh slate across the province, I'd be, then strategic voting is important. But today, one seat flipping doesn't change the outcome. I mean, I didn't look, but what's the
I think it's
what's
46.
yeah. So yeah, it's not going to change.
Right.
And when you think about it, the conservatives do it to themselves. I mean, I talked about the riding I'm in. They kicked out one of their own who became an independent. So all this talk about vote splitting, the party does it to itself once in a while when it kicks out a member.
Right. When things get testy enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. The candidates for Edmonton Ellerslie, Naresh Bharadwaj for United Conservative Party. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there are a lot of new Canadians in that part of the city. And I think that's reflected in the candidates there. Yeah, I see that Fred Munn is running as a Republican there.
Yep.
Who knew the Liberals had a candidate? Who's the leader?
Tijuana is Alberta Liberal Party. So bizarre.
I don't even know who the Alberta Liberal Party leader is.
They don't have one. No, I don't think they have one. Their leader is the gentleman who ran against Danielle in Medicine Hat, right? But he was the interim leader, if I remember correctly. Same with the Alberta Party. I don't even know if the Alberta Party's running any candidates in this election.
They are. Caroline Curry is running for the Alberta Party in Edmonton Ellerslie. We have a Wild Rose Loyalty Coalition candidate, and Alberta Liberals and the Republican Party and UCP and the New Democrats. So it's a full slate of candidates that they're running in that riding.
Look, we're learning together. Because like the Alberta Liberal Party is just completely nothing. We just operate in a two-party system right here in Alberta. And the leader of the Alberta Liberal Party is John Roggenveen. He has been serving as the permanent leader since December 8th, 2022, after acting as interim leader from March 6th, 2021. It seems like nobody wanted the job and he got stuck with it.
Yeah, that just shows how relevant the Liberals and the Alberta Party are in this province. I agree. It's right now it's a two-party system. Yeah, we'll see if if the Republicans get a couple of votes, like more, like I'll be happy if the Republican in Olds get, say, 20% of the vote. I didn't get a chance to ask Cam what he was hoping for, but something like that would be a nice outcome. I'd consider that a partial victory.
Well, 20% of the vote is enough to move the needle. As it pertains to whoever wins. In Saskatchewan, we had a by-election, a brand new upstart Bargy party got 23% of the vote, and it sort of made the governing Sask party change their tune a little bit because they realized, we've got another party breathing down our necks. So 20%, that would be, I bet they would be happy with 20%, 25%. That's a good showing. It's a good showing. It's a respectable showing.
For sure. Actually, the results will, what time is it now? It's only 8:08. The results will take about, maybe at 8:30 we'll start seeing results, but not until then. So, yeah. And Nenshi's got a lot to lose. Can you imagine if Nenshi didn't get elected? Wow, that would be...
in Edmonton, Strathcona, of all places.
Lord, hear our prayers. Lord, hear our prayers. Nothing would be more entertaining in the universe than to watch that guy.
I mean, I'm with you, Sheila. Watching him act, from the peanut gallery. I call it the peanut gallery. I got to be more respectful. I mean, he's in the visitor gallery, but the poor pages, that run the messages back and forth are just running in overtime trying to anyways, it's
over to Kathleen Ganley or whatever.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, because I think we have we've got still about 5 more minutes. I want to ask you about some of the controversy surrounding Tara Sawyer. She's the UCP candidate that was appointed by Premier Smith in Olds, Didsbury, Three Hills. They didn't have a nomination there. even though Nathan Cooper, I think we knew for a while he was
they should always
going
have
to
a nomination.
Washington.
They should always not a nomination process. Like that's
Completely.
But sorry to interrupt. Yeah, go ahead, Sheila.
No, there's people have dug through some of her past comments about during the dark days of COVID.
Yes.
And so there's some of that floating around, and I think that's one of the most conservative ridings in the entire country. I just wonder how that's going to play out at the ballot box.
Back to my earlier comment and to yours, I don't think. What were you saying earlier? You were saying that you thought maybe people would be nervous about not voting conservative or whatever.
Yes.
I think. Yeah. I think this is a perfect example. I think this will backfire on Danielle. Danielle's notorious for doing this, misreading the room. So if she thought that she could just put a candidate in a riding and that the people would just be okay with it, similar with what Poilievre's doing. I don't think Poilievre's got a slam dunk in his upcoming by-election up in Wainwright, but that's a different story. But small town rural conservatives don't like to be quote unquote abused. So Danielle did a couple of things, right? To bypass the nomination process, to take the vote for granted, to just put in somebody that perhaps she likes but is not popular locally with a past. All those things to me add up to an interesting vote result tonight.
Yep. On paper, she's a really strong candidate, but that still doesn't get past the fact that Albertans, more than any other province in the country, do not like to be told what to do.
Totally.
And by installing a nominee that nobody had any vetting over, and I, for one, heard that Tara Sawyer might be a little bit of a pronoun person, a she, her. Okay, a she, her. Okay, nobody is going to be supportive of a she, her. Like if the people of rural Alberta heard this, Tara Sawyer might have a race on her hands tonight. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes over.
I mean, we'll see.
The other thing, the other thing I wanted to talk about, but maybe if we're running out of time.
You take the time.
There was a bit of a smear campaign against Cam there at the very last minute. So one of our, a fellow journalist, Keen Bexey, did an op-ed trying to make Cam look bad. So we'll see if people read that before voting today.
Yeah, I try to stay out of the drama.
Yeah.
But I saw a little bit of it today.
Yeah, I did definitely read it, and there were legal threats flying around and people complaining to other people's bosses, and I just, it was it's an interesting read. So this is it from Juno News. Opinion: beware Cam Davies' second kamikaze campaign. Now the kamikaze campaign references Cam Davies' alleged involvement in the kamikaze campaign to basically lead Jason Kenney to victory at the end of the day. And so anyways, you can explain it better, Marty, if you want.
I'll stay out of it. I'll stay out of the gossip.
You can find it on Juno News. It sounds like Cian Bexley did his journalistic due diligence by reaching out to the other side for comment. He did include whatever comments that he was given back from Cam Davies. And it is indeed true that Cam Davies was fined by Elections Alberta for campaign finance violations. That is true, although Elections Alberta came after me for writing a book. So take that with whatever.
Yeah, take that. I mean, actually, just in closing, Naheed Nenshi was fined for cheating in his leadership race. So, you talked about the spike in popularity among the NDP. There's no doubt that Naheed bought his leadership by, he had a great machine and he sold 57,000 memberships and he got the vote that he needed to get the leadership, and he got slapped on the wrist. So they love to highlight when other parties get fined. And I also like to highlight that the only people that seem to get fined by Elections Alberta or Elections Canada are private citizens and never politicians. There's an awful lot of politicians out there, I think, who should get more than a slap on the wrist. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's almost like they should have to withstand greater scrutiny. Almost
yes.
Like that.
Almost it. Marty, predictions tonight. How's it going to go?
Edmonton Strathcona is definitely going to go to Nenshi. I'm tossing Ellerslie in the air 50-50. Yeah. I think just the bad blood, the bad memory of Rod Loyola. I mean, like how he ever got there to start with, and then when he got let go, or when you told the story, you know the story. So I'm tossing that one in the air. Maybe the people of Edmonton Ellerslie are ready for a change, and then UCP victory in Olds with a strong showing with the Republican Party.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.